representing Palace, so let's tell you about Palace. Rolling straight to the ceiling, crowns and crystals, top like journeys, dishing out malice. Hold up, South London's grandest, far from bandits. Everything earned for a goal of elevation, just passing the team over here might finish that bright future we can't vanish. SE25 any day, that's sellers. Rev up the engines, no more reverse reactions, fan cams, bands on stream. Share up the team, support the dream team when Eagles fly, make noise and scheme. Dare to dream or dream to dare, taking a step to become supreme.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you're doing well. And let's just say this was an impromptu stream. Literally, I called Callum, about 2 hours ago? So, bro.
No, you called me earlier on. I only called you back a couple of hours. So that's on me.
No, that's all good. I was like, yeah, we need to talk. We need to talk. Obviously, this stream is going to be about the whole Marc Guehi situation, which is obviously gathering a lot of speed. You will know our thoughts, I guess, from a Palace point of view. So it'll be good to hear more so from a Liverpool perspective, whether it will be straight cash, would there be a swap deal, would they wait till he's a free transfer? You know, so yeah, we got to wait and see. Callum from Coppish, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, brother. Always a pleasure being on the channel, man. One of the best intros in the game as well. Fire. But nah, honestly, yeah, I feel like I'm in enemy territory here, because I'm representing Liverpool and we're trying to take your captain and your prized possession. But yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
Speaking of nervous, I'm going to just briefly mention this quickly. Obviously, I know I've seen a few comments in the chat regarding our Europa League situation. I've come to peace with it. Like, whatever they decide to do, they will do. I think personally, as a Palace fan, we've shown that Textor has no say or no real say. There's reports allegedly that he's gone and told UEFA that he was the reason why we got Glasner. Whether that's now going to become a big problem, we don't know. He's obviously since then sold his shares to Woody Johnson. He's also, Leon's also been relegated at this moment, which they're going to appeal. They've been relegated to Ligue 2 due to financial problems. But I think the appeal will say that, listen, we've sold our share in Palace, we've got some money. UEFA have also said Leon are going to be in the Europa League at this moment in time. They had a licensing agreement, so that stands. The only thing that will change that if the French Federation they keep the relegation, that might be what UEFA say, all right, listen, they're gone. But we have to just wait and see. We've got to focus on ourselves. We find out tomorrow, I think. Because they did say that we're going to find out on Friday. They've delayed it to tomorrow, which was actually going to be the last day where we could find out anyway. So fingers crossed we do stay in the competition.
Yeah, it's a crazy situation, man.
It's mad. It is mad. But hey,
I tell you how crazy it is. I was at a football law conference in mid-May. So this is before the cup final was played and everything. And this was one of the topics on one of the panels. And no one knew what was going to happen, because there's something similar happened, I want to say, in Brazil with two sets of clubs, and it reminds me of when Liverpool won the Champions League but finished 5th in the Premier League, and they made a special dispensation to let us into the competition, even though we had to go through all the qualifying round. I don't want to jinx anything for you guys. I'd be very shocked if they don't allow you guys into Europa. It'd actually be a travesty. And if you get rejected, I say you guys should appeal and keep on appealing until something happens. But I'd be shocked if they didn't let you in.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole fan base will be shocked. But at the same time, we won't be shocked, because it's kind of like, I think we've all been expecting UEFA to kind of make an example out of us, because financially, it's not going to be a hit. If this was Man City, Real Madrid, Barcelona, they would do anything in their power, knowing financially they will get that money back with them in the competition, to keep them in the competition. But because it's Palace, if they decide to reject it and kick us out, it's because we're Palace, which is a shame. But anyway, we leave that to tomorrow. We are going to go live on that decision. We're going to go live on Tuesday, because tomorrow we have got our Transfer Weekly episode coming out, so we'll leave that discussion for Tuesday. Well, you know us, sometimes we like to mull over some things before we come on the air and start screaming and shouting and cussing and whatever, and look stupid afterwards. So Tuesday we'll discuss the decision made by UEFA, but fingers crossed it's a positive one. Right, let's talk Liverpool, Marc Guehi. But first, Ibrahim Konate. Now, I think this is one of the pieces of the puzzle that's going to have the domino effect to everything that happens. Just let's start with him first and foremost. What is going on with Ibrahim Konate?
I have no clue. We actually don't know, if we're going to be honest, bro. So many conflicting reports coming out, as to be expected. Talk is that he's rejected the deal. Talk is that we are not paying him what he wants or what he feels he deserves, which is around the 180 to 200k mark, apparently. Those are the rumors, though. For me personally, I would go up to 250 for Konate. 240, 250. I know it's a lot of money, but I have to look at the landscape of the centre-back market, and I personally don't think there's anyone out there that we can go and get that's better than him. So therefore, you'd be better off paying him the money. Plus, if there was someone out there better than him or as good, you'd have to buy the player, you'd have to pay a transfer fee, and then you still probably have to put said player on similar wages to what you might have to pay Konate anyway. That being said, Real Madrid, we know what they are, we know what they do. They are able to lure players in and tell them, look, you sit back and relax and we'll take you on a free because you'll get this, that, and the other. Again, can't be too mad at the players because it is a short career they have. As football fans, we can be emotional about it and annoyed, but ultimately they control their destiny and their careers. The Bosman ruling obviously was brought about to that clubs don't have all the power, but I think it's now being used in the players' favour, which may have to be addressed one day, if I'm going to be honest. How it's addressed, I don't know, though. In terms of what happens with him, I don't think we'll sell him this summer for the pure fact of I don't think we'll be able to recoup money that we feel his value represents. Plus, I don't think we'll be able to get an adequate replacement. Therefore, I think there's a high chance we hold on to him this summer and then we try and signal a new contract, try and get him to sign a new contract throughout the season. If that doesn't happen, he'll ultimately leave on a free. You're on mute, bro.
I'm on mute. Sorry. We'll get back to the whole free transfer aspect of it in a minute because we definitely, that is one of the segments. But obviously, for you, on a Liverpool standpoint, you're going to value Konate very highly. I agree. I think he's a very good centre back. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves.
Same.
But on that note, then, how much do you see Konate is worth? And then that can feed nicely into the aspect that you don't want to pay the 45 for Marc Guehi.
Feel like you've got me in a tricky situation now because anything I say is going to be held against me. How much do I value Konate worth in this market? It's tricky, actually.
So he's in the same situation as Mark, right? Going into the final year. So how much is he worth then?
All right, I'm going to be straight with you guys. I don't think Guehi's as good as Konate. I think he's a very good centre back. I don't think he's as good as Konate. I think there's an argument to say Konate's top 7 in the world. I don't think Guehi's there yet. Could he get there? Absolutely, but I don't think he's there yet. So based on that, if let's say Konate had 3 years left on his deal, I'd probably rate Konate about 80 million. If Guehi had 3 years left on his deal, I'd probably, given that he's English, so from an English standpoint, with us buying him or trying to buy him, I'd probably say Guehi is 3 years left on his deal, probably 60 mil. In terms of selling, though, we could probably push around 90 mil for Konate, and I think you guys could push 70 mil for Guehi. So based on them having 1 year left, I'm going to say around 35 mil for Guehi and 50 mil for Konate.
Why is such a big differential out of curiosity?
Because Konate's got more international experience. He's got Champions League experience. He's got Europa League experience and played at the highest level in the Premier League, i.e. winning and competing for the Premier League. Guehi hasn't done that yet. He's obviously won the FA Cup and captained your club to do that, which is obviously groundbreaking and historic. But I don't think he's got the experience and the resume of a Konate yet.
Okay. I'm going to play devil's advocate here nicely. don't you think that Marc's achievements with Palace though puts him up? Maybe not 50 because it's last year of the contract, and I admit, I think as a club we're going to look to get as close to 50 as possible. But you've gone 35. Why not a 40 plus 5 or 45 plus 5?
Oh no, I'm not saying what we'll buy him for. I'm just saying I think that's what the value is. If in today's market, I absolutely think you could get Guehi. It wouldn't surprise me if we paid 40 mil plus 5 for Guehi. I just don't think we're going to try and do that. We may end up having to do that, but I don't think we'll try and do that. I think we'll try and get around the 35 mil mark. But I wouldn't sit here and be like, oh my goodness, we've been robbed, or it's a travesty. If it's 40 mil plus 5, absolutely not been robbed. I've seen Maguire go for like, what was it, 85 mil? Like, bro, like that is not a robbery in any sense of the imagination. However, based from a Liverpool standpoint, where we're going to try and get the best available deal, I think we'll try and go. I think we'll try and get him for around 35 mil, maybe 35 plus 5 add-ons. Or as well, I don't want to spoil the agenda. So yeah, we'll speak about the other options.
Yeah, that other options are possible. It's a highly likely option, by the way.
I think there's another option on top of the agenda option as well, which we'll get to once we review the other ones.
So obviously Ben Jacobs, I don't know how much you value what he says, but he's tweeted out saying Liverpool will only advance their interest in Marc Guehi if Crystal Palace's asking price drops. Kind of going for what you're saying, and I think all clubs do that. Look, they're going to try and get the best value for money. All right. Liverpool have no plans to pay 45 to 50 million, which is what we're clearly asking for.
Yeah. Rightly so, by the way. Rightly so.
Price will need to be well south of this bracket. So that's obviously very, very interesting. But we'll, once again, we'll have to wait and see. But I think, I know, please, obviously, you will know more than from a Liverpool standpoint. It sounds as if, like, personal terms, not an issue. The contract will probably be like, what? I think up to 2030, I think they're saying.
Was that 5 year?
Yeah. So it seems like there's a lot moving. Mark's not going to force a move.
Yeah.
He's already said that. If he has to stay, he'll stay. He'll move on for a free, which we'll get into as well. Yeah. But funny enough, that goes us to our next segment, because it seems as if Liverpool are trying to have a little bargaining chip there. And I wanted to speak more about this. So for those who don't know, they're looking to offer Ben Doak as well as give cash. Now, I don't know what reports are saying in your end, because this one's from Alan Nixon, by the way.
Yeah.
But how much would they then be willing to give Palace if it includes Ben Doak?
So this is what I figure out, because I think it wasn't it you guys tried to get him in January, right?
It was our January last summer, but we have looked at it.
I think it was January, because he went to Middlesbrough on loan, and I think you tried to get him. I think Ipswich were highly interested as well. And I was trying to push the narrative of give them Ben Doak and we take Liam Delap, but obviously that didn't work out. That was my Cal Curse era, so nothing was working out for me. In terms of Ben Doak, I reckon he's probably valued by the club around 25 million. So to put in perspective, if let's say you sold him to us for 40 mil, Chelsea have got, what's the clause they've got? Is it a sell on clause or is it a sell on profit clause?
Sell on clause. So Chelsea will get 20%.
So if we go for 40, so they'll get 8 mil, they'll pocket 8 mil of the deal if it's 40 mil. Let's say it's Ben Doak and 15 mil, they'd pocket 3 mil. But then you'd only take 12, but you get a player. So, I mean, I kind of want to ask you, what do you feel about that? Because again, from outside looking in, I don't think Ben Doak's better than Sarr. Obviously, I think Eze probably goes, unfortunately, for you guys, which is annoying because I'd love to see Eze at Liverpool, but that's not going to happen. I mean, would Doak start for you guys? Because if so, would that represent a good deal for you guys?
In all honesty, for me personally, and I've actually put a poll in the chat, I don't think this is good business for us. And this is why I wanted to speak to you a bit more about it.
I'll be honest, I'm not a big Doak person. I'm not like...
And that's not disrespect to what he could potentially be.
Yeah. But
I think we also, like, for example, this whole Ben Doak thing and other players like Evan Gassand, Antonio Nusa, Johan Bakayoko, all players that have been highlighted potentially to go to us. it's because we're preparing for Ebbs to go.
Yeah.
If it's Stoke and another one of those I've just mentioned, then so be it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But if he's going to be the one, and I'm not saying it's going to be the Ebbs replacement because you can't replace an Ebbs. Like similar to how like Saar was, they were saying Saar to Elise when he was more of the IU replacement, I would say. I don't think us getting, he's not ready to take Ebbs' place.
No.
He's not, you know. So for me, I want to stay clear of that. Like, you know what? I know 35 seems low. I'll rather you run me the money than I'll take.
No, I hear it. I hear it.
You know, but let's say he does go to us. What would he bring? What would he offer us? Well, like, what have you seen as a Liverpool fan that? Like,
So Ben, if I'm going to be Ben Doak in a 1v1 situation is very good because he's 2-footed, so he can go both sides. He can take you down the line and he can cut inside, and he has got a good turn of pace. He's got low center of gravity and he's got decent body strength. He's a very good dribbler, I'd say. However, his final pass, his final shot really does leave a lot to be desired, and he can get muscled about as well, like by your more physical fullbacks and potential centre backs when he cuts inside. He's someone that I look at and think, if you had Elise there and you needed someone to rotate with Elise, then Ben Doak's perfect. If you're bringing him to be a bona fide starter, then I think you might be a little underwhelmed, if I'm going to be honest. He's not poor though. He's not a poor player. And again, I when I say this, I know it comes across really arrogant, and I hope it doesn't. For Liverpool, he's not our level. For you guys, I don't think he's starting level. Potential rotation with a view to he could improve in the future though. Because who's the young winger you've got? Is it
Romain Esse?
Esse, yes, yeah. Esse looks like he's a bit more refined than Ben Doak, for example. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're a similar age.
I mean, on that note as well, we've got to look at the fact that potentially for us, like Mateus França could be loaned out. You know, so if he's coming to sit on our bench and be a squad player, then so be it. You know, so I guess we got to wait and see on that one.
Would you pay 25 million for a squad player though?
We spent 30 on the chaos.
But you didn't. But I'm guessing the club didn't expect.
We expected Mateta to go. That was the reason.
And you didn't expect him to be a squad player. You expected him to be someone who could kick on because he was at Arsenal and he looked like someone who could need to be a starter. But again, he ended the season well, but there was no pressure on those games as such. So we'll see how he starts this season.
Just lastly on Ben Doak, what's his injury record like?
Not great.
Okay, that's what I need to know.
Yeah,
so he's not ready to start. His final ball delivery is poor, and he's injury prone.
Yeah, if I was
that's a typical Palace. That's a typical Palace signing. I'm telling you for now. I don't want to. What was I going to say next? Right, you said you had another theory before we talk about the actual contract situation. What do you think?
I think there's another Liverpool player that we could potentially look at in this situation. That's Tyler Morton. I know you guys looks like you'll be keeping Adam Wharton, but check the core. He's been probably one of the most unlucky players with injury. And when Wharton's not been there or he's not been at his best injury, you've kind of lacked a little bit in that situation, in that position. Tyler Morton, for me, is a player that I wouldn't be surprised if you looked at. And Tyler Morton, for me, is ready to start for a team like Palace potentially. And I think me personally, I think Tyler Morton was kind of done dirty by Liverpool a little bit last season. I think he should have had more game time. For whatever reason, he wasn't. Can't complain too much because we still did win the league. But I look at Tyler Morton and he's a player I think, he could go to Palace and get some game time. I don't think he's better than Wharton, before anyone kills me here. But I do think he's a very good player. And I think he's a player that needs some game time so that he can realise his potential properly.
An interesting stat, actually, just for you. Canate, 82 Premier League games, 1 goal, 23 games for France. Guehi, 132 Premier League games and goals. 6 goals, 23 games for England. I know which one has the most league experience.
Yeah, Premier League experience. Yeah, it would be Guehi. But overall experience, Champions League, Europa,
So you're saying at this moment in time, let's just hypothetically say Konate stays, Mark will be third choice.
Yeah.
Which he would not want.
This
It's
is
a
what
World
I've
Cup,
said.
yeah.
That's what I've said. I've said this from the beginning. That's what I'm saying. I think it would be a difficult deal. And here's the thing. I think people look at it and go, oh, he'll come in for Konate a lot. He plays left centre-back, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He can play anywhere.
But predominantly for Palace, he's mainly played left centre-back since he's been there. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if this is more, we see him partner Konate just as much as he partners Virgil. He could see a lot of game time. Sorry, UK Pat in the chat just said, "How would you give us?" I'm trying to go for a dynasty, bro. I'm trying to win the quad, so we need Marc Guehi and Konate.
I mean,
let me ask you, and I don't hold back here. You know, I'm not going to take anything personally. How do you see the two players? Who do you think's better? I'm not going to take anything personally. It's your opinion versus mine. How close do you think they are? Who do you think is better and why?
I think they're a lot closer than.
I don't think that Marc Guehi on the ball is a level above Konate, but I think every other asset, I think, is Konate.
Yeah, I think they're a lot closer than a lot of top six fans will give him credit for.
Okay,
you know, like I said to you last week, if Mark was playing for a top six side, no one would be having this discussion. You know, yeah, Mark's definitely better on the ball. I must say, Konate's physicality is very good. Like, he bails Van Dijk out, and like, you have to watch the defending.
Thank you, Rich. To
like a minute detail. Like, I'm not saying Van Dijk's not good, but Konate's had to bail him out a few times.
And Trent.
You know? He's on Trent's side, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
He's had to work.
I'm saying, like, and again, I it's a tricky one because Virgil's so good and Virgil's so clean on the ball and aesthetically pleasing to watch. I think people use him to judge Konate.
Yeah.
Which is not fair. Exactly. I'm glad you said that, because that's like me saying, oh, Marc Guehi was only good because he was next to Lacroix. Like, that's not the case. Lacroix was excellent, but so was Marc Guehi. Virgil was superb last season, but so was Konate. And without Konate last season, we wouldn't have won the league. Like, there was a reason why people were saying at one stage of the season, it's the best centre-back pairing in world football, because it needed for two of them to work. So, yeah, I'm glad you said that, because a lot of fans don't give him that sort of credit, and I find it a shame.
Yeah,
but not a lot of fans watch football beyond the surface level either. Yeah,
I mean, just on this MB99, I wouldn't say poor at defending crosses. Basically, I spoke to Carl about this last week, and what happens is that he tends to be the one that's always having to make up for other people's defensive errors. And I think, unfortunately, he scored like a couple own goals because of it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not really... He's surprisingly good in the air. Like, you'll be surprised and such. And I believe there was another comment that was saying that Konate, this one from Ed, a better defender, Mark better on the ball. And such, which... I guess, look, if, like I said, you want a dynasty, you've also got to think that Virgil has got 2 more years than he's done.
Yeah.
Konate's injuries. As much as Mark wouldn't want to go and sit on the bench, he will probably still get a lot more minutes than expected, just because of the amount of games you're playing, the competitions, circumstances, and so on and so forth. But I promise you, you see Marc Guehi at Liverpool, you'll see an unbelievable defender.
Sorry to cut you again. So
I was just gonna say, like we've seen at Palace, like similar to when Elise, all of a sudden Elise is quality world class, and that we've been seeing Elise play like this, and that's what I'm saying. It's because it's Palace. People don't want to admit or open up or see like the qualities that players have. Sorry, you're saying.
So on Elise, I was singing his praises from day dot. Also, I'm saying it here now live. He's the person I want to come and replace Salah when Salah hangs it up or retires from Liverpool. He's the guy I want at Liverpool. Whether it happens or not remains to be seen. In terms of Guehi, though, is there a chance? Because I'm looking at the centre-back scene for England at the moment. Even if he doesn't play as many minutes as he played for Palace, is there actually a chance that he's not going to be starting for England, especially with Tuchel playing three at the back?
Yeah, but Tuchel also likes his Chelsea fandoms, you know what I mean? So
No,
like
I
Reece
hear
James
that,
has come back, Chalobah's come back, Cole will like he can end up doing the madness. I won't lie.
no, I hear that, but is there like, but for Guehi to come out of that team, he'd have to have a rotten season, in my opinion. Because for
I
me,
would think so because I think
he's the first name on the team sheet from
he
a
must
centre
be
back.
first team, but you could just never know with like international managers. That's their first excuse. You need to be playing games.
Yeah, but you can't say that then if he's playing the likes of Trevor Chalobah, etc.
But
Or
that's
Reece
gone.
James, who
But that's
plays
gone
barely
back.
because of injuries.
Yeah, but that's gone down to like players he's known and favoritism through the Chelsea side.
Yeah.
You know, like Chalobah starting to get Senegal. When was the last time he kicked the ball? You know what I mean?
He could have stayed at Palace, to be fair.
I mean, we did. It's weird. It's weird how obviously Richards got his place back, and Richards thrived.
Yeah, he did.
And to be fair as well, Tuchel has been playing four at the back at times as well.
Yeah, true.
So,
but again, John Stone's injury prone. Harry Maguire is what look. To be fair, Harry Maguire is really good for England, but he's still Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire is a better striker than he is a defender.
Yeah, facts. Colwell is still flat as to deceive. Branthwaite, I think, is fantastic, but he doesn't seem to be.
He's not getting a look in.
He's not getting a look in. My point exactly. So I can't see. Like, for me, if I was picking the centre back pairing right now, based on form, availability, and playing, it'd be Guehi and Branthwaite, but Tuchel will never do that.
No, indeed. Right, let's move on. We've got a few more talking points.
Yeah.
Do you think both players run out their contracts?
No. I don't think Guehi runs out his contract. I think Ibu might. I think you sell Guehi. And I don't say this with any disrespect. I don't look at your squad and think, apart from Guehi, I mean, to be fair, you'll sell Eze this summer for 68 mil, but you'll have to reinvest that money. Wharton may go next summer. I don't see you wanting to lose Guehi on a free when you can get money for him. And we've seen how you replaced Anderson, for example. Everyone was waxing lyrical about Anderson and how well he was at Palace, and he was brilliant at Palace. But you've went and, in my opinion, you've upgraded that player for less money, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you... All right, you won't upgrade on Guehi, but I wouldn't be surprised if you reinvested that money and brought in a very good centre-back.
Yeah, I mean, one of the defenders who it seems to be like the reports are on is Diamande from Sporting Lisbon.
Quality.
You know, so, and that would actually hinge on us actually selling Marc.
Yeah.
You know, hence why I think they are really trying to stick to this 45 to 50 million sell, because
what's the price touted for Diamande?
They're Sporting are looking around 45 million euros themselves. You know, so it literally will just be like, thank you, Liverpool. Here you go, Sporting, sort of aspect.
See, if I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool looked at that deal for Diamande if they don't get a breakthrough Guehi. Because we were linked with him previously. I wouldn't be surprised. And he's someone I look at and think he might be able to replicate Konate's game in a year or two's time.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Just on the Eze situation, Pat, he's got a release clause. Once it's activated, there's not much we can do. You know, so I know that we may not want to sell him, but once that's activated.
Where do you think he ends up? I know going off tangent a little bit.
If he goes anywhere, he'll go Arsenal.
Yeah, he came through their academy and everything, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I'm hoping Bayern Munich coming for him, though. It will just make me feel better.
I'm not gonna. I'm surprised Bayern haven't looked at Eze.
Yeah, I mean, the loss on Nabry's getting on. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. For me, regarding I mean, Mark's openly said, like, look, if he doesn't find the right club, he's happy to stay at Palace and see out his contract. But I think the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona are kind of waiting in the wings as well, if he ends up being a free transfer. I think Konate. I think you're right with Konate. You know,
Yeah.
I think he's like he's got a bit more of a rebellious kind of
No,
side.
do you know it's weird? So back in, I want to say January, February time, he was asked about his contract, and he came out and he said, "Look, I want to stay at Liverpool. I've been offered a contract, but have I been offered a contract? Yes, but have I been offered a contract that I think is good?" And he said no.
First.
He's come out a few times and expressed his love for Liverpool and the fact that he wants to stay long term, and how vocal he's been about Virgil when he signed his contract and Salah. I think Konate wants to stay, but I think he's at a point where he's like, I'm not going to bow into the club's demands. I want to be met halfway at least. And one thing about Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards, they are very cold at doing business. And
how old is Konate, by the way?
Konate is 26, I think. Just turned 26.
Just hitting prime.
That's Rich. If he leaves on a free, that's going to really hurt. It's going to really hurt.
Your situation's worse than ours, then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, because I don't know who we can go and get. Like, I wanted us to get Schlotterbeck, but Schlotterbeck got a really bad knee injury. We don't know how he's going to return from that. Diamonde could end up at Palace or somewhere else. I mean, Bastoni would be my obvious choice, but he's not leaving Italy, in my opinion. I can't think of anyone else out there or available who I go, yeah, he replaces Konate with ease. And even Schlotterbeck, I wouldn't say replace him with ease either. So, I don't know, man.
No, interesting. Look, obviously, doing business with you is never easy. You have kind of burnt us in the past.
Yeah, I know.
With the cost, especially, you got to look at Benteke.
I didn't want to bring up. I
know. Do you think that will play its part in us really standing firm with the GUEHI press?
Yeah. Again, I know a lot of Liverpool fans are going to hear me say this and kind of get onto me about it, but you're within your rights to do what you need to do for the betterment of your club. Like, again, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you shamelessly, if I can get Marc Guehi for £1, I'm going to do it because he's a fantastic player, and the lower we pay for him, the better the deal looks. But ultimately, life doesn't work like that. So Palace are going to try and get the best deal. We're going to try and get the best deal. But negotiation happens when you try and meet in the middle and you're fair to each other as much as possible. I just hope Liverpool don't take the mick with you guys where you sit there and you go, well, we're not going to do this at all. And then we're kind of left with egg on our face because of the Konate situation. Then everyone else knows we're looking for a centre-back, and then everyone hikes up their prices when we go to do business with them. So we have to play it very smart on our side as well, or we're going to get burnt.
Cool. I'll give you this last question as I'm just putting another poll into the chat. How do you think this all plays out?
I think we do get Guehi. I think we come to an agreement. I reckon it'll be 35 plus 5. But I think the 5 million add-on will be quite easy to activate. And I think we get him.
And what happens with Konate?
I don't think we sell him this summer, but it's 50-50 whether he signs a new contract or leaves on a free next summer. But I don't think we sell him this summer. So,
can I remember you saying when we spoke last week that Slot might be considering a back three?
Yeah, that's the rumor. I look, I don't have an issue with whether he plays a back three or a back four. I actually like that we have options now because we've not had these options in the past. So for me, it makes sense to have these options because it makes it harder for teams to prepare for us. And if we do have Marc Guehi, then I think it's easier to play a back three because Marc Guehi is good on the ball, he's good at channel defending. Konate is good on the, well, not as good as Guehi, but he's decent on the ball, good at channel defending. It leaves Virgil in the middle to dictate the game, similar to what David Luiz did for Chelsea under Conte, where he had the two runners beside him and he was able to get the ball, get it down, and almost play as a quarterback with his passing. So I'd be over the moon if we got Guehi and was able to field a back three sometimes or a back four sometimes. And again, it means he might get some more game time as well. And it could work out very well for Frimpong, more so than anyone, because him playing in the back three seems to be his preferred situation where he can push further up with less defensive responsibility.
Like, if you have a back three of Mark, Van Dijk, and Konate, I think you go win the league again. You know,
And that's what I need, Rich. That's what I need. I need number 21. I need number 21.
yeah, that
I
would be
need
crazy.
I need that.
That back three is nasty work.
Do you think the price potentially changes if you don't get Europa League?
I don't even want to think about that. You know. You know what? I think it does. I think we then, unfortunately, might have to be like, all right, take the 35 plus 5. Because at the moment, the Europa League is that bit that we're keeping hold of. Like, we can say, listen, look, Mark, and I'm not saying that it will be financially beneficial for us, but we could also then say, we'll take the risk, Mark, capture us in the Europa League, get as far in the competition as possible. We kind of recoup that money.
Yeah.
In a sense. But if we don't have Europa League, Mark might just say, listen, Steve,
Yeah.
you got to make this work, sort of thing. So I must say tomorrow's decision is going to have a really big impact. Buying and selling, which is quite scary.
Yeah.
As
I said, from a Liverpool standpoint, I hope we get a good deal. Again, it's hard for me to speak on this, isn't it? Because I've got a soft spot for Palace. So I don't want to see anything bad happen to Palace, but at the same time, as a Liverpool fan, I want the best for us at the same time. In an ideal world, we give you 40 mil and everyone's kind of happy, right? And then
45 plus 5. I'm sticking to it. I don't care.
No, I hear it. But let's say even 40 plus 5 in add-ons, then surely that
might do it.
I do think we'll try and stick to 35 and 5 though. I really do. But I'm not, as I said, I'm not upset going up to 45 mil for Guehi. Like, you're not going to get many other centre-backs on his level that are better than him for that price. So why not?
Absolutely.
And the homegrown situation as well. Like, our homegrown situation is a little bit techie at the moment.
That's a factor. Right. Obviously, I put two polls in the chat. The first one was kind of just one Palace related. Like, who would you prefer? Johan Bakayoko, Antonio Nusa, Evan Gassand, or Ben Doak? And I think it was quite convincing. Yep, 43%. Bakayoko, 23%. Nusa, 21% for Doak, and 11% Gassard. The second one I put up, I'll just end it now because we're about to wrap up the stream, was with everything we've heard now, what would we do with Mark? And 64% say sell him now. 36% say let him go on a free.
It's a tricky one. By the way, on the winning situation, I think Bakayoko gives you the best balance because you can play Sarr left wing. But I actually think Noose is probably the best out of those players.
I like Noose a lot.
Noose is quality.
Yeah, it's someone we were looking at before he went to Leipzig.
Yeah, Noose is the player. I'd like if we are to move Diaz centrally or he leaves, I'd want Noose or Fofana to come to Liverpool.
Malik Fofana. My gosh.
I mean, Rodrigo would be my first choice, but I don't know if that would be realistic. But in a realistic world, Noose or Fofana would be my choice.
And that's Malik Fofana from Lyon.
Right?
Yeah. Lyon. I mean, if they obviously upheld their relegation, then there's going to be so many suitors.
I hate to say it, I don't see the relegation being upheld.
Yeah, nor do I.
Football's very political, bro. Like, put it this way: if Lyon aren't in Liga, one, who are PSG's competition, and two, it takes the prestige of the competition down a touch as well. The prestige of Liga is at an all-time low, in my opinion. They can't afford to lose Lyon.
Yeah,
they'll bounce back straight away, but for that year, it could do unreparable damage.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's why, like I said, UEFA are doing the best to
they'll accommodate.
keep Lyon. Yeah, they're happy to accommodate, and obviously it's down to the French Federation. If they say nah, listen, they need to be kicked out, then UEFA are gonna have to probably comply. Cal, thank you.
No, thank you, bro.
It's not made. It's not made of our thoughts and feelings and easy. By the way, I think we have agreed on the fact that Ben don't swap deal. No,
I'm gonna be real. If you're looking at Nusa, Bakayoko, Gusand, and then you're looking at Doak, I mean, for me, he's the least talented out of those guys.
Right, this is it. For those who don't know, I know a few people asking in the chat. Let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me on a channel called Team Coppish, along with Matt and Drift, just chatting about Liverpool stuff and a few other stuff with other content creators regarding other teams as well. So obviously we've had you guys on. We'll always do content with you guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Again, you know it is, man. Pleasure to be on the channel. I love what you guys do. Always got to be a supporter. And I keep on saying this, and we always do shows beforehand, but we've got stuff to do between now and Community Shield as well. So
absolutely.
I'm gonna speak to you privately as well, because I might have a little thing going on with that as well. So I'll speak to you about it.
Wicked. Yeah, guys, if you see in the title of the stream, I have put Coppish's at there, so you can just need to click on that and it will take you straight to the channel where you can subscribe. Like this channel, subscribe if you're new. And yeah, tomorrow's the day, man. Tomorrow's the day we find out about the decision. Oh my gosh. Like
God
I said,
willing, it goes in your way, man. I really hope so.
Hopefully, 1,000,000%. But tomorrow evening we'll have Transfer Weekly, where we obviously talk about someone of 5 more players that we are being linked with all the rumors. Tuesday we'll come back and discuss the UEFA decision. Hopefully it's a good one, and then we'll take it from there. But Carl, pleasure as always. Big up everyone in the chat. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, up the Palace. Yee.